Later, Ellen, see you never. Good luck with that UK weather. You say that Trump's what sent you packing. We know it's 'cause your career be lacking. Enjoy your cricket, tea and biscuit. Fuel up and fade out, you stupid dick. Read all about the latest issue. This just in, nobody will miss you.
MC Gene, our Arkansas M&M.
What happens when Megyn Kelly and Greg Gutfeld target Ellen DeGeneres? Kindness does not last. This exposes the Queen of Nice, and it's not pretty. Think again, Ellen. This is the plot twist that no one saw coming, except perhaps her employees. Hollywood's favorite dancing talk show host just stumbled over some hard facts, and Gutfeld and Kelly brought the receipts from fake smiles to real chaos.
News article after article of people being like, Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show.
Ellen DeGeneres, the queen of lunchtime laughing, used to glide across TV screens like a mix between a motivational billboard with legs and a fairy godmother. It was all sunny sneakers and studio dance parties. Her go-to weapon is her trademark compassion. Uncomfortable celebrity interviews interspersed with audience freebies and commercial advertisements.
Ellen DeGeneres feeling the heat as more employees, past and present, from her show say that they were working in a toxic environment. Some Hollywood actors also speaking out against the talk show host now. Let's bring in Carly Shimkus of Fox News Headlines 24/7. Carly, good morning. Great to see you. So what more are we hearing on this story?
Yeah, so things are really spiraling here, and it's sort of two situations unfolding at once. One of them has to do with a mountain of complaints against the show's executive producers. Some 47 past and current employees have complained to BuzzFeed News. Allegations ranging from a toxic work environment, bullying, now even harassment.
This wasn't a mild bubble of discomfort. Rather, it was a pressure cooker of workplace weirdness cooked on high heat and left unchecked for years. The applause prompted and rehearsed the entire production, which was designed with the precision of a military drill and the warmth of a DMV on a Monday morning. However, behind that velvet curtain of forced giggles and choreographed cheerfulness, something was festering, something far less Disney and more dystopian than simmering.
On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end, and also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl. Countless allegations surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party. Try to say that fast.
What the audience saw was laughter and lollipops, but what they didn't see was an environment more tightly controlled than a toddler's diet, where spontaneity was prohibited and human connection came with a backstage manual. It was a performance that was half tap dance and half televised therapy session, created to give the appearance of comfort while operating on fumes of control.
If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays the victim. And she says, poor me. And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
Divide each grin into segments. Each heartwarming gift was planned as part of a marketing strategy rather than out of altruism. The crew's disposable clothes and a marketing machine with a benevolence theme were part of the pastel-colored illusion set. It was the most intricate optical illusion in the entertainment industry, a feel-good empire where no one felt good unless they were wealthy, famous, or holding a clip-on microphone. Then, like a glitter-covered Jenga tower in a thunderstorm, the structure collapsed, the fairy dust wore off, and people descended into the wreckage wearing stilettos and a smile that was sharp enough to cut through 2 decades of manufactured joy. With decades of media training and a battle-hardened instinct for nonsense, Megyn Kelly didn't tiptoe into the chaos. Instead, she walked right into the center of the scandal. She wasn't looking for solace. She wasn't there to soften the blow or fluff pillows. She came to audit the empire and reveal every single crack in the foundation. And she didn't whisper. She detonated for Megyn. Ellen was a living, talking example of the flaws in the contemporary entertainment system, not just another TV personality with a branding gaffe. A mascot with pastel drapes for a well-maintained moral facade, a glittering diversion that conceals the rotting inconsistencies of celebrity culture.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a single comment she said or something she did, just lots of people saying that working for her was a living nightmare and that she's a jerk. And I think that's probably why she wants to leave, because she hasn't really been able to make a comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, remember how everybody loved Ellen? They're like, Ellen, we love you. Ellen's here, yay. And then that all went away. So she probably has been thinking of a reason to leave, and now she thinks that this is the reason to try to make it look like some sort of, look how afraid I am. I feel how you feel because I'm, you know, of Trump.
Yeah, it was just the excuse. She is, Emily, I watched her comedy special. It was like a huge pity party. It was about how she was lamenting how her reputation has suffered. She's essentially as popular as a pit bull with monkeypox.
Ellen's success was not solely due to her talent. It was also based on compliance from her staff, the media, and an audience trained to applaud on cue. Behind that glossy studio set was a fortress of micromanagement control and silence. Ellen represented the slick packaging of virtue mass-produced and sold by the gallant. She didn't just perform niceness. She manufactured it in bulk, slapped a smiley label on it, and distributed it like daytime gospel beneath the twirls and talk show giveaways. The media turned those daring truth seekers into staring extras in her empire's comedy, despite the fact that the regulations were Orwellian and not quirky. The no eye contact vibe was almost a policy. Megyn could see the dysfunction virtually leaking out of the air vents without having to go through private notes or whistleblower reports. Former workers expressed their dissatisfaction more than they spoke. The press corps continued to hit the snooze button despite the fact that the tales were frequent and widespread. Ellen's reputation as the epitome of daytime joy was just too precious to compromise, so instead of accountability, we saw more segments about dogs, cupcakes, and celebrity selfies.
She's putting this on Trump. Do you think that she's going to be, just everybody's going to love her in England?
Especially the jihadis who love the lesbians so much. They're going to love her there. I think she's fleeing for way more than her anger over Trump.
If Trump is truly responsible for Ellen's exodus, shouldn't that go down as his greatest achievement in the last 8? I mean, he should get the Nobel Prize.
He's literally going to have a who's who of left. I mean, the entire 80s music catalog is gone. You got Springsteen, Cher, Madonna. I just don't know why they keep showing pictures of Aaron Rodgers with blonde hair.
Megyn saw a society that not only accepted hypocrisy, but also embraced, lauded, and disseminated it. Ellen was not only protected by the entertainment business, they relied on her presence to maintain the illusion that everything was safe, fun, and pure. In the meantime, behind that glittering curtain, it was command rather than compassion, and when it finally broke, the only thing surprising was how long it took for anyone to realize that the glitter was nothing more than dust. Megyn, who is well versed in the process of making media sausage, quickly pulled the curtain back and laid out Ellen's empire, making it less Oprah and more origin tale of a Disney villain. While the world cheered Ellen's dance, Megyn broke out the timing, the meticulously planned ascent, the empty excuses, and the subsequent ratings decline that resembled a scenario from a soap opera scripted by karma itself. While the media machine continued to polish that halo with industrial-grade spin kindness, Megyn noticed the silence in the wings and the former employees whispering stories of fear and micromanagement. It seemed like a brand, and in Hollywood, brands are invincible until they aren't, but Megyn wasn't there to simply put on a wristband and leave. Instead, she started a thorough autopsy. Whispers were ignored until Twitter cranked up the volume, which was her favorite aspect of the magnificent double standard. How could someone so pure be so easily shielded from responsibility?
I have a question for you on this. This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party. And Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set.
Since the media jumps in like pigeons on spilled popcorn when a conservative even sneezes out of step, Ellen received the spot treatment, a few fluffy headlines, a sympathy arc, and then all of a sudden, she's the victim of being misinterpreted. Cute Megyn didn't buy it, and she didn't allow anyone else to buy it either. But just when Ellen's media protection program was beginning to look shaky and Megyn brandished a knife as she stormed Greg Gutfeld, America's favorite snarky wrecking ball. When Gutfeld arrived with a jackhammer, a laugh track, and a sinister smile, he first tore off the label of Ellen's sainthood and put it on under the auspices of Hollywood fantasy. Gutfeld was able to see through the glimmer. Ellen wasn't a fallen angel. Rather, she was the newest woke mascot to put herself on a pedestal. He began his habit of making fun of her with meaning, and when Ellen went on her apology tour, Greg didn't just call it theatrical. He called it Oscar-worthy. It was the most awkward comedy sketch Ellen had ever done. Not because she didn't try, but because nothing screams sincerity like a script written by a publicist and presented in a studio setting. He laughed most at the idea that Ellen was just learning about the environment she allegedly created. Oh, like she tripped and unintentionally ran a toxic workplace. Gutfeld framed it perfectly. Hollywood sells redemption arcs like vending machine gum, but when the main character is the one flipping the script, that's not growth. It's PR yoga.
They must stay in the hell of Trump. We're out of here. By the way, Walter.
I think we could let the illegal aliens stay if we get enough of Hollywood to self-deport.
Yes. I will take 1,000.
You know, exactly.
I'll take 1,000 Venezuelan migrants for one share.
Exactly. If you can get one Hollywood star to leave, you get to stay. Otherwise, it's out.
You know what, though, is funny? I just want to bring this up to you. You can comment or not.
Yeah.
So she left a celebrity base to go to London, and she's already ensconced with other celebrities. So she's basically still in the same bubble.
She's not going back to London. She's going to Oxfordshire. And as the only person on this set who attended Oxford University.
No, way to drop that in.
It's true. I can tell you that there is nothing high British Oxford society loves more than a failed and despised American talk show host.
He analyzed Ellen's fixation on celebrity culture, including the frequent naming of the royal interviews and the billionaire bromance. It was off-brand in addition to being gaudy. You can't use a Gucci megaphone to teach humility. Greg didn't stop at Ellen. He aimed his comedic missile at the entire ecosystem that allowed her to flourish, including her staff, who were treated like invisible stage props, her fans, who were trained to clap like seals, and the media, who were too intoxicated by her charm to perform their duties. Gutfeld made fun of a whole relatable shtick, saying that Ellen wasn't your friend, but rather your illusion, shrink-wrapped, and syndicated 5 days a week. In addition to exposing Ellen, Greg also revealed the complete dream factory from which she danced, not to mention the optics of her apologies. Ellen was a wealthy, wearing high-end shoes as she stood there. Describing with tears how she was just developing, Gutfeld laughed so loudly that it reverberated through all of the phony plants in her studio, which were growing at a 60 degrees angle toward the exit. He then ripped into her. Since, let's face it, the only thing you're still learning after decades of wealth and fame is how to escape responsibilities, I'm still learning routine, like it was the narrative of a failed Netflix pilot. Greg's argument Ellen stumbled over her own picture while doing a trust fall into a stack of unpaid interns, but she didn't fall.
A show, home of Matt Lauer, that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg. It chose to sink.
If it was why I was quitting, I would have not come back this year. I really did think about not coming back because it did... it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy.
No, the real reason, she says, is it was just too easy. Telling the Hollywood Reporter, quote, when you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore. Well, if that's true, here's an idea. When your viewership is down 43%, why not consider that the challenge?
When the narrative accelerated back in Megyn's corner, she focused on the aftershock. The brand Fallout sponsors subtly removed fans, pressed pause, and her ratings plummeted more than a politician in a polygraph test. Megyn wasn't shocked since she anticipated it like a sluggish train passing through Beverly Hills. Megyn found the hush before all those years of well-crafted interviews to be more fascinating than the controversy. Softball questions and media gimmicks aside, Ellen molded the public's generosity into a costume, which, when she removed it, revealed something far less attractive. Megyn focused on the change in culture. Ellen's rise and fall was more than simply a celebrity breakdown. It was a reflection of how the public's tastes had shifted. They were sick of manufactured morality and synthetic smiles and wanted genuine, sarcastic. When Ellen discussed the echo chamber and how the entertainment industry fueled itself, her pals complimented her, her protégés interviewed her, and her fan clubs supported her. Her sincerity was the most manufactured thing on daytime television. It was all one large. Before Greg returned for one more roast, he raced out a Studio City snow globe, which was stunning on the exterior, but entirely phony on the inside. He viewed Ellen not only as a fallen host, but also as a symbol. An example of the ridiculousness of contemporary stardom is a well-groomed persona in a society that encourages performance and penalizes real responsibility.
DeGeneres bails for the UK. All right. I'm going to go to you first, Kat, because this is I think you understand this story. So Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven of Montecito for England. Now, they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Every day was planned, every laugh was staged, and every time Ellen entered the stage, she became a version of herself that had lost her authenticity years before. He likened her empire to a sitcom that forgot it wasn't real. The last nail in the coffin when Gutfeld's famous roast Ellen crumbled, all that remained was the sound of fake applause and the smell of stale vegan snacks. Ellen didn't create a chat show. Instead, she created a theme park of self-righteousness. In addition to exposing Ellen, Megyn and Greg meticulously and sarcastically destroyed her narrative, piece by glittering piece, without expressing wrath. Their sarcasm was acute enough to cut through the layers of Hollywood's collective hallucination. This narrative lacked a redemption arc, a meaningful speech, a moving comeback, and a slow piano piece. It was reality pulled out into the light and made to remove its makeup. It wasn't daytime television. Ellen's smiles turned into a warning not just for celebrities, but also for anybody who mistakenly believes that a platform is a personality. She wasn't canceled. Instead, she was exposed, and once the illusion was broken, not even her shoes could escape the reality. Kelly saw the line Greg's architecture. Together, Gutfeld and Megyn painted the picture, creating a work of media deconstruction that was surgical rather than personal or motivated by retaliation. Greg set the stage on fire, cooked marshmallows over the ashes, and depicted America. Instead of being shocked, Americans watched with a slow nod that only occurs after the mask is finally off and someone says, "Ah, there it is." In the end, Ellen didn't just lose her crown, she danced herself off the stage. This was the last episode, scripted by Karma and produced by reality. Ellen's program was no longer hers.